Thanks, Marshall. Well, welcome to today's Q A, everyone. And we are going to get started out. Sorry, I was trying to read something really quick. My name is Gary Grover. I'll be your host, and Phil Higgins will be driving documentation. So a lot of times when you have questions, we'll try and back that up with some documentation if we have it readily available. I don't have any big announcements other than as of today, the deadline for Fall 2 is still February 24th. I know there's some issues that are being worked on. One thing that we have seen recently is the SCSE 0128 errors. Even after you've removed your preschoolers' SCSE records, the error doesn't seem to go away, even though you get in a new revision. Sometimes it takes a couple revisions and it goes away, and we're just kind of investigating that, or continue, I shouldn't say just, we've been working on it for a while, well, why that might be happening. So as long as you don't, and most of the times I do find that the preschoolers have SCSE records in there. So if you get rid of those, you're good. If you see you still have those errors, but you look and you check and you know you've deleted them, it's on this end, it's not on your end, there's really not much more you can do. And we hope to have that cleared up soon. Can't think of anything else. Martha, Angela, do you have any announcements?
I don't think Martha's here yet. We were just coming from another meeting that ran a little bit long. So I will report that we normally have our releases go in on Tuesdays, and that did not happen yesterday. It got bumped out to this morning. So that release went in, introduced a brand new bug. That was a lot of fun for everybody this morning, where when you logged into online maintenance and looked up your students' courses, you saw other LEA's courses in different academic years. So they were able to fortunately get that one turned around and fixed, I think just around lunchtime. So that should be back to normal now. The known issues in the footer of CalPads is somewhat up to date. I updated what I could of the fixes that went in this morning. There's going to be a few more added tomorrow because they're related to snapshots that need to get updated before I can let folks know that the problem is gone. So make sure you grab today's copy, but then also sometime tomorrow, grab a new copy as well. Right. I don't have an update on the deadline. CDE is aware that A, there's still some outstanding defects in CalPads that are preventing you from certifying, and B, that some of you are just kind of behind and haven't been able to catch up yet. So I don't know. I'm not going to say it's 100% solid on Friday, but I'm not going to say it's definitely going to get extended either.
Yep. Caught between a rock and a hard place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hope they extend it for you guys. I know it's been a rough submission. And I think that was everything, Gary.
Okay. Thanks, Angela. So let's go ahead and get started. And if we can't answer your questions, we generally do ask that you submit a service ticket, but we'll go one by one and see what we have here. So, okay. First question I have is from Laura at Santa Rosa. When we have students enrolled in our 18 to 22 transition program and they are still English learners, how do we exclude them from the TAMO system? They have received a completion status of 120, a certificate of completion, and re-enroll. Our multilingual department is suggesting we end their EL status. Is that correct? If so, what do we use? You don't end the EL status. I don't think there's any way to end the EL status in CalPads. If you've exited them correctly, I don't know why TAMO would still be.
Would they require the ADEL status, the ADEL?
I think ADEL is 22 and up.
My mistake, sorry.
I'm not sure about the 18 to 22s. It would seem to me if they have a completion status that TAMS would realize that. So anyone else want to take a stab? I don't know if we have Brandy on the line.
I think these are students that re-enrolled after they have their 120, but they continue for solely for services in transition. But I believe that they were still considered EL until they reached 22.
Do you know about the TAMO side of it, Alex?
No, the only thing that comes to mind is that Adele code, but like Nate said, it's just for students that are 22. So I don't know if there's a way to exclude them.
Is it possible they're supposed to be in TOMS?
That would be my assumption.
I think maybe if a ticket on that one, and we'll get somebody from CDE to weigh on. I don't think we have anybody from CDE here with us today.
Okay, next question is from Angela from Bonita. I'm hoping there might be an update on my ticket 281829 regarding the SIMP 59 fatal issue, invalid student age for student initial school of enrollment, which is triggering for TK students younger than 4 at the time of their enrollment start date.
I've been waiting on that one patiently, Angela. It's okay, that's 20 days ago. Assigned to Brandy and Paula, and no edits on it. So I will ping them so they'll get something in their inbox. And maybe they'll give you an update.
Okay, from Vanessa. For the SCSE 128, once the course and students are removed to clear the error, will this cause another error since we will have staff demo with staff assignment teacher, no course or students? Preschool teachers shouldn't be in there either.
Yeah, that one's a little tricky because I've seen a combination of things where it's a teacher of a blended class, so preschool through like 3rd grade for possibly the students with disabilities. And in that case, you do want the teachers reported, right? But if they're solely teaching preschool, starting this year, they want you to put the employment end date prior to information day, or if you want, you can just remove the demographic and assignment records altogether. And that's if they're only teaching preschool.
Good point. From Beth, when using the course code of 9230 RTI reading intervention for an itinerant teacher, do you also need to use the LAO code of local assignment option code of 8005B? I've had an exception through CalSES in this for the last 2 years. However, I have other itinerant teachers coded the same way without the error. Is there a piece I am missing? I am just not sure. I'm just a CalPADS hat wearer. This may be a question for assignment monitoring folks or for CDE. I'm not sure why your other teachers would not get the error, and if this teacher has the same credentialing, why they would be getting the error.
Alex, what was the gentleman's name that was at that assignment monitoring meeting with you?
Jeffrey
with a J or
with a J. Mm-hmm. I was checking if they were there. But
oh, okay. Tara's not. So no, the assignment monitoring folks aren't on the call. So probably would need a ticket for that one. Unless Alex, do you have an answer?
No, I don't.
Okay, I heard you take a breath like you were going to say something.
I was going to say that Tara confirmed that she will be here next week, next Wednesday Q&A.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks. Mm-hmm. Before we go on, Vanessa had a kind of a wrapped up question two in hers that's related to the 128. So I just wanted to address that. What happens if we do not report the SDC preschool students? They are enrolled as a primary 10 enrollment. They will not get any errors saying they're missing a course record. So next, it's just, don't worry about that.
Yes, I'm sorry, I missed that part of that question. Question 1 from Wendy. Is it true we will be reporting classified employees in CalPADS next school year?
No.
I hope not.
Nope.
We have enough. That's still Aura, right? Or that's the right
I think
term?
there's something afoot with classified people that I don't. It's not going to be in CalPADS next year.
Yeah. Laura White has a question too. We'll circle back to that one. Mary Messers, question 1. Is it expected or is there any benefit to posting a change to a 140 truant exit code from 3/2022 prior year when learning on 2/2023 that the student has enrolled in adult education? I don't think you want to go back and change past history if that was accurate at that time. Question 1 from Denise. Any updates regarding removing the phantom errors? So I talked about that at the beginning. So Denise, I don't know if you were already on or not, but We are aware that they are phantom errors. If you know that your student course sections for the preschoolers, if that's what was causing them, have been removed and you're still getting the errors, it should go away with new revisions, or whenever whatever's going on is causing them gets cleared up. But it's nothing on your end. It's definitely on the CalPADS end, especially if you know they've been deleted.
I can add to that, Gary, and it's not even a new revision. I've seen it take several days, so multiple revisions for it to finally clear. We did hear from the DBA on that this morning. She says that it's just such a large data set that the query that is running that one is taking a really long time, and so she made some adjustments on it that went in this morning, but she acknowledged that it's not going to fully fix the problem, so they're going to continue to refine that to speed that up. But for now, just be patient and work on other things if you have those errors. And like Gary said, you've already confirmed that you've made the appropriate corrections. They will fall off eventually.
Question 1 from Tanya. We have employees with error message cert 48 and 84, but they have not been employed with us all school year. I have them inactive in areas with a left date in their STF and an end date in their SCJ. I'm not sure what those acronyms are.
Those are Aries acronyms.
Oh, but they still come up on the error list. What am I missing? The main thing I see with these errors is to make sure that you, and I'm not sure that is related to this or not, but it is to make sure that if their employment end date is in there, that you have not put in an effective end date, because what that does is it creates a new record, so the system thinks they're still active. That's the first thing I always check.
In CalPADS, not Aries.
CalPADS, not Aries. I never check Aries. I don't know anything about Aries.
Yeah, so look them up. Use the staff quick search on the left-hand navigation, and when you do go to close them out, when you open the modal, people are super tempted to put in the effective end date. Don't do that. Leave that field blank and scroll down to the very bottom of the modal. There's an employment end date. Put the data in that one.
And if you're getting errors and because you did put, or I'm saying you did, or someone put the effective end date and the employment end date, then there may be some cleanup that has to be done to get rid of that new record that came on. Question 2 for Angela. We'll come back to that one. Question 1 from Carol. Is there an issue with the CERT 004? I have a student that will be leaving our district on February 2022. I've entered the exit date in CalPADS, and now I have a fatal CERT 4 for fall 2. That student does have race data. What's going on? Wow, you shouldn't. If the student was there on census day, fall 2 is only about like fall 1, what was happening on census day. So as long as your records are correct, you should be good. Although if there is if the race data and everything's correct, yeah, I think we might have an issue. If there is an extra record that was added that isn't complete, then you could just clean that up, and that should take care of the CERT 4, but this might be one that we need to investigate in a little bit more if there's an issue. Will the option for ethnicity and race missing be removed for next year? I don't think so.
I haven't heard of that change at all. Not sure why somebody thinks that we would.
Question 1 from Lori. I have 6 fatal CERT 104s. Any updates when that will be resolved? Is there a workaround? Not sure what the CERT 104 is off the top of my head.
Missing ed services. And
we have a bug on that?
We do, yeah. Oh, Martha, that was the one I was just talking about with you, that it looks like it should have gone in today, but they didn't update the problem ticket, so I'm chasing that down. So it's possible it got fixed today. If not, it will get patched.
But you need a new revision to see it.
Yes.
Right, yeah, so I said that at the top of the call, Martha, that I didn't update all the problem tickets to say fix implemented, because some of them I have to wait for a new revision, and that would be one of them too, but it's if you were to look on the known issues, that one still says sent to developer rather than fix available. So
Mm,
I wouldn't be updating that one. So I'm trying to figure out where that one fell.
a question one from Amy. CERT 48, 173, 84, kind of all related. CALPADS doesn't like team teaching sections. I think we have a bug on the CERT 1673, if I recall. How to remove duplicate sections with wrong class ID without deleting both records on each seed. I have 2 sections at 2 schools with this issue. Is there a workaround? How do we meet the deadline of 2/24 if bugs have not been cleared up yet? Well, that's a good point. If the bugs haven't been cleared up and you can't certify, then I don't know how they could keep the deadline being the deadline, but that's not up to me. But I'm sure it will be discussed.
Our goal is to get the defects fixed. When, not sure, but it is a top priority because we know it impacts your ability to certify.
Okay, question from Elsa. Is there an agreement between the ROC and community college that allows the students who passes the ROC course to forego prerequisites when starting at college? Is this considered a post-secondary articulated course? Anyone? I don't know the answer to this.
Don't we have a definition for post-articulation? I thought what the post-articulation did is that you have an agreement with that college that what you take at the high school allows the student then either not to have to do prerequisites, or there's some arrangement that they can seamlessly go to the college. I'm not sure you get college credit automatically, but is there a definition somewhere for that?
Pulling up the
In the
glossary now.
CFS or the CFS? Isn't it a field?
Paul's pulling it up, he said.
I don't have that question in front of me. Would you read it again?
Oh, sure. Is there an agreement between a regional occupation center and a community college that allows students who pass the ROC course to forego prerequisites when starting at the college?
Oh,
And is this considered a post-secondary articulated course?
So it's almost, but I don't know if it works with ROCs. But I know it's that's what's intended to do for regular schools. So maybe we have to get Brandy to weigh in on that.
Okay. And Brandy, I think, is traveling this week. I'm not sure. Q1 from Claire. We are getting a fatal CERT 174 on student with disabilities enrolled in a study skills class with the RSP teacher. The class is marked as Instructional Strategy Special Education. The student has an ongoing special ed record in CALPADS with no exit date. The student's special education meeting date for 22-23 was November 30th. Special education entry date is 12/1/2021. Well, the meeting date was after Census Day.
174.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the SPED student was not enrolled. The student is not a special ed on census day, and so and they're enrolled at a course that is identified as SPED. So you have to identify the meeting date of that SPED student if they were actively SPED on census day.
My assumption is that if the student was already on an active IEP from a previous LEA, they just didn't adopt the previous district's plan. And so that would make it so that there's an overlapping SPED record from the current LEA. And maybe that would clear the CERT 174.
Okay. Q2 from Lori, we'll come back to that one. Q1 from Terry. Has anyone reported an issue with the 2.4 report? For example, at one of our schools, it is showing that we have 379 level 4 ELD students. But when we look at the 2.7 report, there are no level 4 students. Is this a known issue? I don't think we have an issue like that.
There's a hierarchy that goes on, though. I don't know if that
Right.
same hierarchy is used on 2.7, but we do some collapsing, right? If a
Right.
staff person has 2 or a 3, it will change and be counted as a 4.
4. Yeah, I know that's on the 2.5. I don't know about the 2.7.
It's on 2.4. 2.4, the mapping guide, Paul, it has the grid of how things are combined. There you are. So
And
if you
2.7 does the same thing or no?
I don't know about 2.7, but scroll up a little bit. So that's under the header of that multiple English learner services report hierarchy. It has some confusing logic of
Yes.
how it counts the teachers. It's kind of a head scratcher.
Her question was on 2.7. So can you show the report mapping for 2.7 to see if it also uses the same hierarchy? Listen, that would be troublesome if they use the same hierarchy, but they come out with different numbers. 2.7. Yeah, so 2.4 is about the staff, and this is students. So that's based on what the actual course that they were in and what that teacher was teaching for that course. So I could see how they don't jive.
Yeah, see row 10.
Scroll down.
Under report logic, it talks about they're only counted in 1.
Ed services.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. If there's multiple services, they're only counted in 1.
I don't think you're going to be able to reconcile those 2 reports.
Yeah.
I would agree. One's about staff and the other's about students. The courses that the students are actually in.
Okay, question from Jean. If we are still experiencing fatal issues with known issues, such as the CRS 123 F2, will we be kept from certifying? No, I mean, there's a lot of different decisions that would have to be made. I know sometimes an error can, on a case-by-case basis, be overridden if there's no resolution for it and nothing else can be done. However, if there's a lot of those, we prefer to just, I think, hold off until the error is fixed. So again, a lot of this is in the air right now. A lot of discussions going on. Q3 from Lori, we'll come back to that. Amanda, Q1, what non-classroom based job assignment should be used for assistive technology employees in the SPED department? They don't instruct students, but work with students and staff to demo tech equipment used in the classroom to assist students with classwork. We are trying to get away from the 60-20, but that seems like the only option. Anyone know without Brandy? What?
So is that a certificated job though? Because it sounds like a technical.
Classified? If it's classified, you wouldn't even put them in. You're right.
And I think you have to break it down and ask yourself, are they providing instructional support? Or is it, as you guys said, from the classified staff, just assisting them with equipment? Because if that's the case, they don't get reported at all, right?
Yep, you wouldn't be able to. I don't think a lot of classified don't have seat numbers. Question 1 from Cedric. We saw some strange behavior with the latest revision this morning. You're not the only one. You're not the only one, Cedric. We got 29 CERT 82s and 26 CERT 137s. From what we can tell, it's because the course is not working as full replacement, especially when it involved team teaching being removed. Yeah, there's some issues going on with that for sure. And troubleshooting is very difficult. Also, what's strange is the errors triggered today, but they should have triggered weeks ago. We are working on making the deletes and online maintenance. Yes, there was an update this morning that may have caused some issues and fixed some issues. Question 1 from Lou. I submitted ticket 283026 regarding the CERT 82 triggering incorrectly when a multi-teacher job sharing. Martha mentioned that this may be part of a larger problem, but haven't seen anything in the known issues. Are there any updates?
We're trying, Lou. I think I recruited Alex to help me with that one. I don't know, Alex, have you gotten a chance to look at anything this afternoon?
Yeah, I was able to reproduce in staging.
Oh, awesome. So did you get the CERT 82?
Yeah.
Perfect.
New issue coming.
So we'll log that today. I've been working on it for a couple days now. So thank you, Alex. I had a feeling fresh eyeballs would help me out.
Question 1 from Ethan.
Wait. So Lou just has to wait for us to get it fixed, right? First we had to reproduce it, we'll log it. Now we have to get it fixed, right? So she does nothing.
Yeah, but at least it should be on the known issues, right? At minimum.
Yeah, okay.
I just haven't been able to get that far yet.
Question 1 from Ethan. Can you confirm which extracts are full replacement mode or if any of them should be but currently aren't? Well, in the CFS Word document version, it talks about every file type and if they're full replacement or not.
It's in the user manual too, if you didn't want to leave CALPADS.
Yeah, and then what you're looking for is the operational keys. So if you upload a course file, I had someone that had uploaded 254 course sections for a particular school, and then a day later they uploaded course section for 14 courses at the same school, and we're wondering what happened to the other 240 something courses. Is because it was the same school academic year and academic term, so it replaced everything with just those 14 records. But look at the operational keys, and that's what gets replaced. That being said, we do seem to be having, and I don't know if there's a known issue number for it, I think there is, where the course full replacement wasn't working. But in this case it did work, so I'm not sure if it's one of the mysteries that's going on right now. But if you look at the document and the operational keys, if that's what's in CALPADS and you're uploading something that has matching operational keys, that is a full replacement type, that's what's going to be replaced.
I would comment on the SCSE replacement processing. It's a little awkward in my mind because the SSID is included.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you can't wipe out an entire student because it's part of that operational key.
And it is, the SCSE is nice because you can correct records for a particular student without wiping out your whole school, because it does include the SSID.
Yeah, so cuts both ways, I guess.
Yeah. Question 1 from Alex put at 3:30, put the documentation link to that, what Paul was showing. Q1 from Trish. Do we report courses for pre-K students with disabilities?
No.
No.
No courses for preschool students at all.
Karen, this is, I was just responding to another question. Okay.
Information though, do you want to go ahead and read it?
Read it? Sure.
Yeah.
So Karen says to Laura, this is from the Get Answers and the ETS. Students enrolled in your LA with an, this is that one question, with an ELASF EL must take the summative assessment as long as they are 21 years of age or younger. Once a student reaches their 22nd birthday, they will no longer be eligible to take the summative LPAC. Thanks, Karen. Question 1 from Charlene. Is there a help desk for TAMO related questions?
It's
I
the
think
teacher
that's teaching and
monitoring.
monitoring.
Oh,
And there's a,
thanks.
if you go on the CDE website and just put in the acronym, it pulls up a site that has a lot of information about that. And there is a frequently asked questions there. And at the bottom of the page, there's a email address for information on that one. I'll see if I can put that in the chat for us right quick.
Thanks, Marshall. Catherine Moore, question 1. What are the reasons that a counselor of mine's seed is not registering as a valid seed in CALPADS? Have you checked with the CCTC, California Credentialing Teaching folks, to verify that's a valid seed? Once in a while, there may be a problem with the seed in the table, but usually, because CALPADS doesn't do anything with assigning seeds like SSID. Seeds are completely outside of CALPADS. So if it's not
And sometimes
registering,
they get retired. And I think, yeah, checking with the CTC if it's valid on their site.
yeah. Question 1 from Rachel. If we have certificated staff, such as school counselors working at the county office, but providing services to multiple districts, should we report them only under the county office or at each district they serve?
I think at the districts that they serve, they're itinerant, right? Oh, but then you have to have the STEM. So that's the problem. If the other districts don't have the demographic and they can't report the seed, then the county could, but you just don't get to say where they're being utilized.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to give out that seed or, demographic data to each of the districts, they can report the staff because they have the students. Otherwise, county office can just say that they're teaching, but you don't have any students to report in the course enrollments because they're being offered at the actual districts. That makes any sense.
Okay, question 1 from Nicole. Here's a ticket number ticket number there. I'm trying to delete SCSE manually, entered multiple times. I was directed to add the parent course, then delete the SCSE records. Do I have to wait for the new snapshot to remove it? I've tried removing it after some time, but it's still showing. I would hate to certify with the wrong information. There's a couple different methods that you can use, and some are successful sometimes, and sometimes they don't seem to be successful. But one way I was able to do it was find if the course was deleted, the course section was deleted, and you have an orphaned SCSE record, if you were to temporarily put back the course section, then you delete the student course section and then delete the course section again. That works sometimes. In online maintenance, I haven't had as much success as I do when I just upload a batch file. And since the SCSE record, it's full replacement, but with that SSID, I'll just put the record I want to delete in a batch file, which is available under the help menu in CALPADS or the SCSE file type, and just put in, there's not a lot of information that has to be put in, but as long as you fill in what's required, and then put a D in the second column, D for delete, and upload and post the batch file. That generally works for me. I have more success with that in online maintenance. For some reason, we've been having off and on different problems with online maintenance deleting records.
So Gary, when you do the SCSE in batch, a delete, you don't have to have the parent record there to do the delete?
It doesn't, I haven't had to. No, it seems like it works. But if it didn't work, I would try putting the course section record temporarily in and then try the batch upload again. It's different results sometimes, but that's generally works for me when I've done it. And I don't know if any of the other analysts have any tips they want to add that they've tried, but
Just also a thing, make sure that the attributes match, like the course section ID, because
exactly.
it won't associate that SCSE with that parent ID if those validations don't match. I mean, if you look at the SCSE 139, all the fields that match on that's being validated, those should be the fields that match with your SCSE and CRSE.
Good point. Thanks, Karen. Doug posted Aries STF staff file. Oh, he's telling me what that STF and STJ mean. Thanks, Doug. Q2 for Elsa, Q2 for Amy. We'll come back to theirs. Question 1 from Tanya. We have employees with the CERT 4884. Oh, wait, that's a question I already read. That's that little issue I was telling you about Zoom Desk now. Question 1 from Shelley. Good afternoon. I was not able to attend the Q1 meeting, but I've heard some talk about collecting data next year on classified employees. Oh, that's where people are getting this. Is there anything in writing that can refer to so I can get ahead? I don't think we're collecting classified data next year, but I'm not sure. I don't remember hearing that.
CalPADS isn't, but it may
Yeah.
be somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah.
All we have is what was presented in the quarterlies, and I believe the PowerPoint is the box site. That's as much as we have, Shelley, at this time.
Question from Eric. Please explain how the ethnicity and race works. Do we need race when the Hispanic indicator is set to yes? And is it allowed to ask report ethnicity and race decline to state? Is this updated on the FAQ on the CDE webpage? There is a FAQ on race ethnicity in the CD page. I don't know if it's been updated recently. When you do put a Hispanic indicator, race is still required. I mean, I guess you could put decline to state, but it's still a required field to be put in, even if you put Hispanic indicator set to yes. Question 1 from Larnie. For long-term substitute teachers that will be reporting for fall 2 because there is a vacancy, how do we report their assignment for CALPADS to know they are long-term subs? Will the CTC know the teachers at long-term sub and therefore will be reviewed as such instead of the teacher of record? Yeah.
You can add an optional non-classroom job code of 6014 on top of assigning
there it is right there.
the sub to the course if there is a vacancy.
Thanks, Karen. I didn't see your reply there. I should have just looked down. Oh, Nancy posted out to everyone that the San Diego County Office of Ed created a color chart to make the EL report unduplication hierarchy easier to understand, and she provided a link. So thanks, Nancy. And Vicky asked, did I understand correctly that the SCSE is not acting as a full replacement file? Is what is behind the 139? We would like to resolve this error. No, I don't know that you understood correctly. It is full replacement, but on the operational keys. And one of the application keys is an SSID number. So if you have 1,000 kids and you upload one SSID number, it's not going to wipe out all those other records. It's only going to replace full replacement of that student's only SCSE records.
I think that's more also related to how they try to delete those preschool kids that they may have reported. So they thought by submitting a new SCSE file, they overwrite those preschool kids, but that's not the case. So because of
point.
the SSID.
Yeah. Having that SSID as part of the operational key is kind of counterintuitive, right? You would think you kind of want to wipe the slate clean, but it doesn't let you unless you are fixing a particular student.
One thing that just a kind of a thing that I've kind of done when it gets like kind of messy in the course sections and the student course sections, I kind of want to say, just kind of go back to square one, and just if you pull a CSE or a course section or a student course section ODS extract out and get everything that is in CalPADS, if you're wanting, and I'm only saying this if you want to get rid of everything, and just put those into a batch file template and put a D in the second column for everything and just delete everything, then you can start over from scratch with brand new course section and student course section records, if you're in that situation where you're trying to get rid of records and it's not working for you. Question one from Wendy. If the system was updated and caused more errors that we didn't have yesterday, are they planning on updating the system more prior to certification? We may never get certified if they keep working on a live database. We're trying to clean up existing errors and getting new ones daily. So Wendy, they do weekly updates generally every week, usually Tuesdays. I think this one was Wednesday because of the holiday maybe. But they do that every week because there are issues that have to get fixed so that people can certify. And unfortunately, part of that process sometimes involves creating new issues. It's a never-ending cycle, but the CDE and everyone works together to help everyone get certified. And if all the errors are still there when the deadline comes up, then they reevaluate and make decisions on how to handle that. But we're never going to ask people or prevent people from certifying because of fatal errors, whether it has to be overridden or CDE makes a decision to extend the deadline until the errors are fixed. That's what happens. Question one from Leanne. I have 80 Cert 05 errors, which are all preschool students. Is this a known issue? They just showed up today after pushing up a new SCNR. Cert 5. For fall 2?
Maybe they included students who were enrolled after Census Day, and since SCSE gets pulled 30 days into the system, it also pulls their SCSE. So essentially, it's the student does not have an enrollment on Census Day.
Yes.
So if you had students who started after Census Day, chances are your SIS may have also extracted the SCSE for those students.
But we
Because of
don't
the
want
30-day period, yeah.
But we don't want those course enrollments for preschool students.
Right.
But I see how potentially, because fall drags on for a while, that you end up getting additional kids that you may not want.
Yeah, it looks like, Leanne, you might have N470'd some of your preschool students, and so that might have triggered that error. They were no longer enrolled, but you should also have the corresponding, which I'm checking your file now, does not, 128s. Oh, because I know why. You swapped out probably your SCSE 128s because you closed the preschool record, but then because the student course section is still out there, now it's saying, well, you have a course record for a student that's not enrolled. So we just need to delete those SCSE records for the preschoolers.
All right. At 3:33, Karen posted a link, California Tom's Help, contact, get answers. Paul posted at 3:34 the TAMO stuff, and so did Marshall. And some other things, teaching assignment. At 3:39, Karen posted some information. When creating a parent course section record, make sure the following values match between the course and student course records. Mary posted at 3:40, classified data is reported to CalPADS Aura each year so far. And Ed followed up with that as well. Eric has a Q2, and we are down to the bottom. Oh, wait. Ren asks, why nothing is so slow again? Why nothing is so slow again? I'm not sure what that means.
Maybe everything?
Everything is so slow again.
If nothing was slow, we'd be
That's right.
celebrating.
I know. Oh,
That
moving.
movie.
There you go.
Your brain did a swap in the middle of your typing. I'm not sure what you're referencing there as revisions.
Posting going well? No backlog in posting? Navigating from screen to screen? We have all kinds of questions for
Reports?
you, Ren.
Oh, posting. Well, posting can be slow, especially when folks are uploading the course and student course sections, because that's so much data. That's usually when you really notice posting slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder if you're in online maintenance too. That tends to be slower doing posting. So just because it takes that screen a while to recognize that you're actually doing that. So we always say batch is better if you can.
Okay, so I am going to go back up to the top for the Q2s, and we have about 11 minutes. First Q2 is from Laura at 3:02. It has been my understanding that the highest grade reportable to CALPADS is 12th grade, even for students who are in our 18 to 22 transition program. If this is correct, could you provide me the documentation on grade level? If this is incorrect, what grade can I report them as? Where is that documentation?
There was even a flash when we got rid of the US and UE grade level. I think it was in 2018, 2019, when we were getting ready to transition students with disability into CALPADS, that we said that the highest grade level was grade 12. So I don't know, that's a really old flash though. I think they even archived it. I want to say it goes back to like 39 or something like that. But that explains what they did with removing the US and graded secondary grade level. And you had a choice of determining what grade level disability was in. You get based on your
Martha, you're trailing off a little bit. I'm not sure.
You're
think
off
there's
in the wilderness there, Martha.
the
I
FAQ
went to go give my binder.
there's the FAQ, Paul. The FAQ is something on that. The transition, adult transition.
It tells you specifically how to report students in transition.
Yeah.
But does it explain the grade business?
It tells them to use grade 12. No explanation why.
I want to see if my 139 is, if I was right about that. It is 139.
Holy cow, Martha. Jeez.
5 years ago.
It's no, because I looked it up. I think I was hunting it down like last week. So that's why it stuck in my mind. It was July 24th, 2018, where they talked about how to figure out what grade level to assign a student with disability.
And Paul's got it up on the screen, so it's flash 139.
Oh,
Because I too am a hoarder.
Digital hoarder though, right?
Yes, I keep all the digital copies.
Thanks, Angela.
Martha's the paper queen.
That's right. Hopefully that helps whoever asked the question.
Oh, that was Laura from Santa Rosa.
If you can share that, Paul, are you able to share that flash out?
That's what I was working on just now.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to question 2 from Angela. How often are new Fall 2 snapshots getting generated? Throughout the day, it's
I'd say between 3 to 4 is what I'm seeing. I happen to have LA Unified up right now in front of me. They're the largest in the state, and they're getting 3 and 4 a day. Does that match with what you're saying, Gary?
yes.
There's no competition with Fall 1 anymore.
Yeah.
That's a strictly Fall 2 processing.
Fall 1 is turned off.
Lori, wait. So Lori has a question too. I've not had a snapshot since February 13th. Are they still happening regularly? And Angela responded that you haven't posted anything since 2.9, so the system didn't make a new revision. Q3 from Lori. How can they not extend the deadline if there are still fatal errors with defects that prevent us from certifying? So we'll just wait and see. Q2 from Elsa. Is there any way for us to trigger a revision? Yes, you can make an update in CALPADS.
But I would do it on a SCNR.
Yeah.
An update to an SCNR. And sometimes you just repost an existing record. That's enough.
Yeah, you don't have to change anything. You just got to repost.
But you don't really need to do that unless you've, made a change, and then in that case, you're already in the queue.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if in Lori's case, since she hasn't had one for a couple of days, it made her feel better to get a new one. She could go in there and do that.
It's interesting we're getting this question after all these years still. As from Amy, question 2, is race required if ethnicity for Hispanic is yes? I have parents complaining that white does not fit. Well, there's a couple different choices, but I see lots of records every day where code 700 white is in there when Hispanic is yes.
There is a in the FAQ that indicates that question. It says there seems to be a race category to select when respondents select their ethnicity as Hispanic or Latino was a correct race. So let me just put the link in here.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Karen.
Question 28, I think. Okay, let me just post the answer here. So if they decline, and since there's no option to put a decline to state in the forms anymore, you just mark it as missing, race missing. Where's that?
Well, I'm going to go on to question 3 from Amy. Do you need to check the box for SCSE for dual credit for CCI types of courses? Indicator. Is that on the CSCA or is it on the course?
What indicator?
Check the box on the student course section for dual credit for college career indicator types of courses.
It's not a checkbox. It's the instructional strategy. 24 and 25, right?
23.
Yeah.
23 and 24.
I thought that was a course. Isn't that the course or is it the student course? The course record.
But the course.
It's a course element.
Yeah. Question 2 from Amy. Oh, wait, no, never mind. That's one that repeated. Sorry. Oh, so Kyron posted at the bottom at 3:56 a lot of text, and I'm not going to read that. But
Can you acknowledge Ed's comment too? 353.
3:53. Oh, this Zoom. Scrolling back up. Okay, so Ed says, but that just makes the CDD out of sync when there are 4 revisions a day, but only on the CDDs.
So Martha, I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but they are out of sync, and I don't know if they're going to fix it. Do you know, Martha?
We haven't written it up that they continue to be out of sync, because for the most part, I see the CDD ending the same time the revision ended. So, but
that's not true with the SCSE 128, right? We're saying they get revisions, but they're not clearing those certification data discrepancies.
So I think we'll have to log that.
Okay.
I think we've done that to give them that particular scenario.
I think Ed has asked me to do that, and I've just been kind of overwhelmed and I haven't gotten a chance. but also, it's like I thought they said, no, this is just life now, right?
But I also thought that Ritesh did indicate, our DBA, that they were in sync. So, I guess we have to prove them otherwise, which means they have to reproduce it in that environment, Ed. And so it just takes us a while to confirm and get defects written up sometimes. But we'll work on it. We'll work on getting it written up. And I think that's why we request a new revision, so we finally get them in sync for you. Sorry. That's something we have control over.
Amy at 356 says, was that a yes or a no? And I think your question was if you could use white as a race, and yes, you can, unless there's the other choices are available that you could use, or as Carmen said, decline to state. Eric says this question too was skipped.
342.
342. I'm sorry, you guys. It's just this new Zoom, everything. It's not easy, and they don't like what they did with it because it just pops everything down. Hmm. 331, 333. There it is. Boy, I didn't see it the first time. At 342 from Eric, question 2. Our superintendent has only an admin credential and SEED under Wave Chief Administration Officer. For some reason, I'm not able to report her. I get an error about the wrong SEED format. Do I have to report her? Well, if the SEED isn't working for you, you wouldn't be able to report her. So either the SEED, if there's a problem with the SEED, that needs to be corrected. But if it's not working, there's no way to put the person in CALPADS.
Here's a blurb about that in the data guide on page 125, where if they're an administrator and they're not certificated, you can request a certificate of clearance from the CTC, and they'll issue a real SEED. I wonder, Eric, if you're referring to the SEED as some number that's not actually the state educator ID.
Okay. It's 1 minute after 4. There's a couple more questions. We'll go through those and then we will be done. Divya says, if a CTE course is being taken in college by a high school student, should we be adding the CTE provider as district? Choice is district or ROP centers.
Time is that one?
At 358, if a CTE course is being taken in college by a high school student, should we be adding the CTE provider as district from the two choices of district or ROP center?
I know that usually relates to funding, who's funding the CTE program. And so I would think, I know what some of our coworkers whose kids are taking college courses, that the school is paying for it. Their students are not coming out of pocket to attend. So I would think that would be district funded.
District. Thanks, Nate. Makes sense. Margarita at 401 says, my understanding is we only require to report certificated administrators.
There are exceptions to that.
Yeah.
A certain level of non-certificated administrators, I think assistant or deputy superintendent or higher.
But I think they have to have some sort of waiver by the board in order to report them. But they also have to get a SEED, right?
Right. Yep. You have to have a SEED. If you don't have a SEED, you can't report them.
Okay. And the last question for the day is from Amy. Question 4. Do RSP or EL support teachers have to be itinerant, or can they have class sections with rosters in it?
They can have rosters, especially, well, maybe not especially. Sometimes I think the ed services, that when you have a staff person that's itinerant and you don't have a roster, then you're not showing that the student's in a course receiving ed services. And so the only way to do that is to have a roster. But itinerant teachers, we don't prevent you from submitting a course and then the student course enrollment.
And with that, we are done for today. We will be back again next Wednesday, which will be 2 days before the deadline. And I'm sure there'll be more information if there's too many errors still before that, if there's any talk of extending the deadline or what's going to happen. But hopefully by next Wednesday, we'll have firm answers on all of this too. So see everyone next week.